Okay, all
Yeah, no,
right,
I'll
everybody,
just answer your
welcome back.
question.
We're special edition. We got one of my favorite guests ever back, Real Barb Life. His YouTube channel is right there. I'm going to leave it up the whole time. You guys should be subscribing to this guy. I have to say, so no bias here. Will take me out of it. This is my favorite Evony YouTuber, and I'm not my favorite Evony YouTuber, anyways. So that would make him number one in my books. So you should definitely be watching this guy. So Real Barb Life, welcome back. And we were just talking off air for a second. You made a reaction video to one of my recent videos. I haven't watched it yet. I will. So what did you think of the video that you did a reaction to?
What's up, players? Yeah, no, I just I said some other stuff in the video. I think the only thing I said about your video was it would be helpful for, I mean, both you and I identified in separate videos that if we're going to use those second boxes when there's third versions, probably the best general to use them on is Marisa Nassau. But for anyone that wanted to compare exactly, because most people, you want to fully ascend your general, or you want to get them to, you know, maybe at least that third red bar for that, you know, in-city troops, hit points, and defense, or whatever you want. So I just made the comment that it would help if you had an Excel spreadsheet so that everyone could see all the generals on one page, and then they could see which general gives the biggest increase per tavern general, and they could decide that way. But you know, it's probably Marisa Nassau anyways.
Yeah, so maybe I'll put that out to my Discord community. I posted I have it in a Google Doc, and I posted it. I'm sure there's someone out there who could take all those numbers and do something with it. I'm super lazy when it comes, not like necessarily lazy, because it did take me like 2 hours to make that video, but I'm just like, I do it one thing at a time. I don't want to put it into a formula. I just want it like nice and easy in front of my eye. But yeah, I totally understand someone who would want a spreadsheet for it.
I know that I know Derek Defies is an absolute professional when it comes to Excel, and I know that Optimize Ebony, he's real good with the spreadsheets, just an easily identifiable way. When he's going through his video, he sorts like this is the you know, general. He does a lot of general combination pairing videos. This is the general is the absolute most damage. This is the one with the, you know, this one ranks, you know, third for hit points or whatever it is. Maybe one of those guys can put it together. They watch your content, think about it, slap something like that together.
Yeah, so some of those spreadsheets are so well, I can't even understand them, some of the stuff. But you come across to me as a guy who doesn't use spreadsheets and just presses attack.
Well, actually, no. I've used Excel in multiple jobs, and you know, in electrical engineering, you know, college for 3 years. I've used Excel for like, I don't know, 8 something total years combined, but there's like several years in between each not using it at all. And yeah, Derek Defies knows how to do way more things in Excel than I do, but it's been almost a decade since I've even touched this Excel again.
Yeah,
There's just so much functionality in that.
Yeah, I just mean you come across like as a guy who just has so much fun in the game. Like, let's try this one out. I'm kind of like that. Like, I look at the Excel sheets like every year or so, every like 8 months. I'm not like always. And then once in a while, it's like, oh, wow, that don't work anymore. And it's been a few times that kind of splatted. I got to go look at things again.
I definitely, you know, for those that haven't checked out my channel, all my it's kind of on the same topic. All my videos are just straight up off the cuff, no preparation. I just come up with like an idea of something I generally want to talk about, or a couple things, and then I'll start making the video. Really, the only work, like the reason why some people might not like my content is I put very little work into my videos. Like the only work I put into them is sometimes I make a thumbnail and then you know, the title description. That's about it.
Yeah,
so,
welcome
you know,
to the club. I'm Captain Lazy on that. But what I really like about your stuff is that like you said, it's something that you want to talk about. It's off the cuff, but you're passionate about it. You're the only YouTuber out there. You remind me of me in my first couple of years. Like, you love the game.
Well, I can explain that a little bit. That is true. I do love the game. I do play the game a lot, but just real quick, some people have asked, like, why do I spend so much money, or what do I do for a job? So I'm retired from the military. I was enlisted in the Navy for 12 years. Well, just a couple months short of 12 years, medically retired, 100% disabled. All my money's tax free. Well, on one of my last tours, I did, most everyone in the Navy, you do 5 years out to sea on a ship or submarine, 3 years in port, 5 years back out to sea, etc. So during my only shore duty of 3 years, I was a recruiter for the Navy during the last 3 years of George Bush's presidency. Like full on, full on everything in the Middle East. Like the last 6 months of my tour was the first 6 months of Obama's presidency. So like having a good attitude, being able to just off the cuff, talking about things, having that experience definitely is part of my personality, or at least what I'm able to present to others.
Okay, screw Ebony. I want to talk more about the Navy. This is way more interesting to me. So, were you ever in a submarine?
That's what I was. Yeah, I was a submariner. I was a nuclear electrician's mate. I was enlisted. I was E6 when I was medically retired. I came down with insomnia. I couldn't fall asleep. Like, it got real bad. Like I had all these, like, a lot of people probably experienced it commonly if they try to drive from like New England to Florida in one trip, and you're driving like 16 hours, and then all of a sudden, you start thinking some weird things, and you're like, okay, I can't make this full drive in one trip. I need to pull over, get some sleep. Well, when you don't sleep 3 or 4 days in a row, like it gets real bad. You have complete like hallucinations and stuff. And anyways, that happened to me. It happened to me when I went back out after my shore duty to do another 5 years on subs again.
So, what's it like going down in the sub? Like when you go down, do they say like, "Hey, we're not coming up for like 47 days"? Do you know anything?
I mean, after doing a couple patrols, you kind of got the gist. But general like operational schedule of the submarine is not known by everyone on the sub. Another thing about it is there's two different types of submarines. There's ballistic missile submarines that carry the nukes. Like there's always one operating in the Atlantic and always one operating in the Pacific.
And
at all times since the last
Iran? Is that?
No.
I'm joking.
In the last 40 something years, we've always had one in the Atlantic and one in the Pacific at all times, and each of them has a capacity of carrying 200 something nuclear warheads. It's pretty crazy. But so there's ballistic missile submarines. They call them boomers. They can be anywhere in the ocean. Their missiles shoot into lower Earth orbit and get hit anywhere on the planet. They don't need to be in range of anyone. And then there's fast attack submarines. Those travel all over the world, get close to countries, try to pick up communications, deploy SEALs, stuff like that. I was on the ballistic missile submarines.
So who has the best submarines in the world?
Well, technology rise.
Yeah.
I would say Germany. They only got a few, but they have. I think there's. I don't know a lot about it. but their like hydrogen power technology on their subs is like way further progressed than anyone else. But ours and Great Britain's are very comparable. But yeah, you know, that was back in, the last time I did that was back in 2010. So I can't even imagine where they're at now. We've been ahead of everybody for so long. It's just yeah, it is what it is.
So when you go on a submarine trip, you may not know when you come up or not, but do you know where you're going to port? Like, because you guys get vacations, right? So it'll be like, oh yeah, we're going to come up and we're going to go on vacation in like Vietnam or Zanzibar. Like, do you have any sort of idea like that?
Yeah. So again, it comes back to the two different types of subs. The ballistic missile submarines, they stay pretty close to the country. Like in general, you know, our submarine was always within, you know, several hundred miles of like the Bahamas area. We're out of Kings Bay, Georgia. Out of my, I had 9 deployments, and we only ever pulled into one port other than our own once. And we pulled, and it wasn't a foreign port. It was Norfolk. We had a problem with main steam 1, which is the main valve. There's two main valves, 2 steam generators for the turbines, and main steam 1 didn't close. It was going to be 4th of July weekend, and our engineer, main steam 1 was required per the reactor manuals that it needed to close within, you know, a certain number of seconds, and it was taking like 2 seconds too long. So our engineer sent in a report. They were like, "We need to get this fixed." Like, he set it up for 4th of July weekend, and it's funny because you have 3 different shifts on the sub, or pretty much anywhere Navy stuff. You have 3 different 8-hour shifts to cover, or actually it's 3 different 6-hour shifts. You're working 18-hour day. It's kind of crazy. You have different hours every single day. But I had only one of those shifts was going to be off duty for the night of the 4th of July to see the fireworks, and that was my shift, so that was pretty GG.
Nice. So what's that like? What's that like when you're, so like obviously everybody's seen like submarine disappears, whatever. So then when you're in a sub and there's a problem and you have to go to port, there's a mechanical problem. Do you like think about that stuff? Is it like scary?
No, man. It you know, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, but it's not like you're just down there like waiting for something to happen. Like pretty much when they deploy 5 days a week, if you got a captain that's really on it 5 days a week, or maybe only 3 days a week, they run drills for like 10 to 12 hours each day, practicing flooding, practicing, you know, all the different things, man overboard, like maybe you're on the surface and someone falls off the sub and
Really?
you got to stop the propeller as soon as possible. Yeah, steam line ruptures. Like I had a real good I had several captains over my time, but I had one real good captain. He called them the biblical drills. Call him the biblical drills. He was Sicilian, short guy, hardcore Catholic. He was a character. We all loved him. But yeah, they run drills all dang week, man.
I would have never thought that. I honestly thought you go on the sub, you have like a mission, and you just kind of play cards and chess and hang out and don't do much unless something happens.
I mean, when you do have off time and there is and you can do something, there's limited things that you can do. You know, playing poker was probably the most popular things guys did, or watching movies. You know, but yeah, it's difficult when you go out there. Like when they're deployed on the subs, everyone's working like over 100 hours a week, other than the officers, because all the enlisted guys, they're on an 18-hour rotating shift work. So you got 6 hours on watch, you got 6 hours doing maintenance or stuff, your equipment you're responsible to fix, and then you got 6 hours where you can sleep. And then the next 6 hours you're on watch again. So if you're on watch for 6 hours from noon to 6 p.m., the next time you're going to be on watch for 6 hours is 6 a.m. to noon the very next day. So
And
all
what's
the enlisted.
watch? So for like someone like me who doesn't know anything, and probably half the viewers, we envision watch means you're in the periscope and the thing's up in the submarine and you're looking out for stuff.
No, no, no. Watch is a certain amount of equipment that you're either responsible for monitoring, or controlling, or operating. So I was an electrician, so we had 3 different watches that we could be. We could be an electrical operator, which you sit at a control panel for the whole 6 hours, and you have the ability to swap all ship's power between, the turbine generators off of the reactor to the ship's battery. Like they have a huge battery that can power the entire submarine. That's more than 2 football fields long, 5 stories towards the center. Each says 128 cells. Each cell is about 5 feet high and like 30 feet wide in both directions. That can power the sub for a certain amount of time. But yeah, the electrical operator, he's at that panel for 6 hours straight. He can swap power between the battery, the backup diesel generator, or the steam turbines off the reactor. Right next to him is a reactor operator. Right on the other side of the reactor operator is the steam plant control panel guy that basically he turns this big steering wheel that affects how much steam are going to the main engines and how fast the propeller's turning and how fast the ship is, the sub is moving. So during those 6 hours, this is back aft in engineering towards the back of the boat. The periscopes and the watch officer and control is at the very front of the ship. The people demanding what speed they want the sub to go. And during those 6 hours, officer of the watch could maintain a certain speed for hours, or he could change the speed of the sub 30 times during 6 hours.
So do subs still have periscopes, like a big nuclear sub?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so you talked about how big they are, 2 football fields. So that's like 200 meters long. About 25 years ago, I used to work in mines underground, and people couldn't believe it's a whole other world under there. Like you could fit like 4 dump trucks driving side by side. Air's pumped underground. It's like a whole city underground. And the one I worked in was like 7,000 feet deep. Every 100 feet was a different level. So it was like a 70-story building that you could drive big trucks in. How big is it inside a submarine?
Yeah, well, the ballistic missile submarines are much larger than the fast attack submarines and longer, because you basically have a whole missile compartment in the middle of the sub. That's the majority of the length of the submarine. And the fast attacks, they have berthing in the middle, but they don't have these huge missile tubes. But yeah, the ballistic missiles are all around bigger. I think the tallest guy on our sub, you'd imagine short people would get along better. The tallest guy on our sub, he was like 6'8".
And he had no problems
And
walking?
well, the majority of all the places walking around is no problem. You got to go under hatches, but there's just so much equipment that's contained in tight spaces that needs to be maintained and re-greased, and like there's so many motors and pumps.
So could you drive
on
a
a
car
submarine?
in it?
More than 100. There's more than 100 pumps, like pumping some sort of water for cooling systems forever. There's seawater pumps and freshwater pumps and pumps for the oxygen generators. we take seawater, we turn it into fresh water for showering and drinking. We take that fresh water and turn it into deionized water, which is pure H2O. Those go through oxygen generators, split it to hydrogen and oxygen. Hydrogen is discharged overboard. Oxygen is put into tanks because, well, there was times we didn't surface for 40 days. There was times we didn't see any sunlight for 50 days. Like there might be a couple times during your deployment, you surface and people are allowed, the crew's able to go up topside, or who's ever off watch for that 6 hours can go up, and maybe they're surfaced for overlapping 2 6-hour periods, so 2 different watch sections. The whole crew will be divided into 3. There'll be 3 watch sections, so you can cover all 24 hours every day, but it's an 18-hour day for most of the crew. That must be so
exciting if when you like come up, you don't know, like, hey, surprise, 45 days, we're up, we're in Jamaica.
It would be weird just going topside. Like the best thing that I was always look forward to, and also like while doing it, just be kind of like, all right, this is sweet. Going topside and just being able to look out on a distance further than, because the berthing compartment, the longest you can see on the sub would be, straight down like the berthing area, and that might be like, well, I don't know exactly, but it's several dozens of meters, right?
Are you talking about like, so you come up to the surface in the middle of just water and you can get outside and look?
Yeah, so they have non-skid on the entire top of the submarine, so people can go up there, and if the water's a little rough, we don't only ever surface when the water is really calm, but sometimes they surface because they have to do surfacing operations. Like I said, they practice all this stuff. They practice all these drills. They have to do surfacing operations, even if they're not letting the crew up, because you never want to run into a boat when you're surfacing. So they'll do surfacing operations or coming close to the surface to periscope depth, and they'll do that. They might practice that, several times a week, because you have to practice it enough. You can't stay underwater deep for 40 days before you do it once, and then you hit a freaking boat out there. You got to practice all these things.
Okay, so the submarine, let's say you're in the middle of the Pacific. Can the submarine surface and people go out and get on top of it?
100%, yeah.
Wow. Have you ever done that? And you just see water in
every
direction?
The people I talk to that are still in it, Master Chiefs now, I heard they canceled all swim calls, but we had one captain that never did it, but we had one captain that I had for like 3 years, and he did one swim call each deployment. Just one time. He promised the crew he'd do it at least one time. So it would be when our sub wasn't the target packaging sub, meaning if the United States launched ballistic missiles, hopefully never, right? Ballistic nuclear missiles, that we weren't the sub that was going to do it, right? So if we were off that targeting package and it wasn't us, we had the possibility where we could surface, and we would surface and we'd do a steel beach. So like the cooks would come up, they cook burgers topside, everyone would go swimming.
That's awesome.
I got pictures on my Facebook, man. My primary photo on my Facebook is me holding a big penis raft. It's a big inflatable penis bought at a sex shop, and it wasn't mine, but I'm holding the picture. It's the best photo I've ever had. But one of the mechanics, he bought it because we're gonna be deployed for 2 to 3 months, right? He bought it just so he could get top. He was the first dude topside, and he was blowing on that thing as fast as he possibly could, so he could have it inflated whenever everyone got up there.
That's so nuts.
Pretty funny stuff.
So obviously the water has to be super calm. Do people have to wear life jackets doing that?
No, but we have a ship swimmer. So we have one guy up there. He's got He's got a vest on. He's got a snorkel around his neck, and then he has some flippers.
Wow, that's unreal. I never actually thought you would say yes, and that they did surface like that. Okay, so last question about submarines, then we get back to Evony.
Well, I've heard they don't do it anymore. They used to be able to do it based off the captain's discretion, but I've heard since several years back none of them do it anymore, which is unfortunate.
So whenever you hear, like, which is very rare, but once in a while there's like a submarine disappears, whatever, do you ever believe that it's mechanical error?
Do I believe it's mechanical error?
Yeah, like the official report will always be like mechanical error, submarine disappeared, or do you think something more nefarious happens?
No, I wouldn't. Do you know about the USS California?
Which one was that? Like, I don't remember all the
that
names, but I know lots of stories.
That was the one that hit the underground mountain going all ahead flank cavitate, which is the fastest you can have the ship go.
So it's in Pearl Harbor.
Have the boat go. Yeah. People listening to this are in the Navy, they're going to be like, they don't call subs ships. Called boats in the Navy, so yeah, that's the proper term. The subs are boats. That's what everyone calls them in the Navy. But yeah, they hit an underground mountain, and like we immediately, when we got back, or if we were in port at the time, like all of our guys were immediately like showing pictures of it once it was brought back into port and put in dry dock. But they had hit so far, like several people died. A bunch of people got injured because everything on the whole, like there ain't nothing soft. Like if you're in any area where you could fly forward 6, 10 feet, like everything's made out of metal, straight up. Like everyone just got wrecked.
So are you talking about people that were in their bunks? The USS San Francisco hit an undersea mountain?
Okay, yeah, San Francisco, that's what it is.
Yeah.
But we got pictures of it, and that sub had hit that mountain, unmapped mountain somewhere in the ocean so hard that it put a ripple, like a dented can, in that hull. And that hull is like, it's like 8 or 10 inches thick of Inconel 542 alloy or whatever it is, the best alloy they have discovered that can take stress from temperature and pressure and depth and not crack. Put a ripple in that. It's like 8 or 10 inches thick, the hull. It's crazy. I can't find the pictures anymore online, but we all saw them immediately.
Yeah, I'm gonna post it right here for people actually as we talk. But yeah, it basically looks like someone stepped on pop can at the front of it. I'll let's see if I could get it up. So, anyways, as I look this up, you have anything else in Evony you want to discuss? You got SVS going on right now. Boring.
Yeah, man, let's talk about Evony. I got a few things I want to discuss, man.
Yeah, go for it. Floor's yours while my slow internet loads this picture of the sub.
All right, you're breaking up a little bit, but it's not too bad. So, yeah, for anyone that's not checked out my my channel, I usually try to talk about something that I'm interested in, and the focus of my videos are good commentary. But I want to talk about something with you right now. We can discuss it, that I planned on making a video about, which I've never seen anyone else discuss. And I can't see what you're actually showing on your screen, but can you bring stuff up for the game on your screen in this video right now?
Yeah, I can for sure. I was bringing up I just showed the sub, the front of it. So go ahead. I'll try to bring stuff up.
Oh, so you found a picture showing that?
Yeah, I just showed it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, it's been a while since I tried to find it, but last time I looked for it, I couldn't find it online. That's cool. Yeah. So what I'm excited about is I'm climbing to K44. I have all the troops that I feel like I need right now. I just finished off my military academy 8 yesterday when tactics researching came up. So I'm K43 with the important stuff done, and I got the resources for Walls 43 to go to 44. So I'll be 44 with military academy 9 rally spot done in like 2 months, and then after that, what I'm excited about, I'm gonna start building troops, baby.
I just started
I'm gonna start building troops, and what I want to talk about.
Yeah, I just started making troops again for the first time in like a year. So fun.
Yeah, because you've been over 50 billion power for several years, right?
Yeah, probably like a year and a half. I've been at 52 billion. So just like the last 2 days, now I'm almost 54 and I'm just making troops nonstop again.
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about. I want to talk about what tier of troops I'm going to make, why, and it should be something for people to think about because I've never seen anyone else ever discuss anything along these lines ever. So in attacks, defenses, you want to have a good power exchange, right? That's what everyone's looking at the battle reports. Some alliances are out there just crushing everybody, always having a favorable power exchange. So this information probably isn't for them, but for anyone like coming close or facing fairly reasonable competition, here's something to consider. So Genghis, if you can go to any of your troop buildings and just click on any of the tiers of troops, and when you click on the picture of the troop and it shows the power level of the troop,
yeah.
When you go to the very next tier of troops, all the way up until T15, the power level of the troop increases by 50% per tier, and the resource cost, other than the first like 2 or 3 tiers, and the resource cost per troop also increases by 50%. Okay, so that's one piece of information. The second piece of information for people to start to understand what I'm talking about here. If you look at, if you go to like Battle of Chalons and the information tab, and you scroll all the way down to the number of points you get per troop level you kill, this doesn't completely match SVS, troops in SVS. They're similar values though. If you start looking at these scores that you get per troop level, the scores you get per troop level do not increase by 50% tier to tier. So for example, if you go to like Battle of Chalons, you click the I tab, you scroll all the way down to the troops. Let's look at the tier 10 troops, the tier 12 troops to the tier 13 troops. 100 scores for a million tier 12. 115 scores for a million T13s killed. So from 12 to 13, it only increases by 15%. The amount of scores that the enemy is going to get off you only increases by 15%. But the power level of your troops from tier 12 to tier 13 is a 50% increase. Battle reports do not reflect the amount of points the enemy is actually getting off the level of your troops that they are killing. So once I'm 44 and it's time to build troops, I got a whole bunch of T11s and T12s. I'm going to build all T13s, baby. I'll build some T14s. I'm going to have enough T15s where I'm able to at least fill an entire mark size for a ground archer and siege. There's world bosses that are weak to different troop types, like bird or hurricane hit with ground. So I'm just going to fill enough to where I have enough for my max march, 200% march size. I'm going to stop on T15 and everything. I'm gonna have like 1 million more of T14s than I do T15s, and then I'm just gonna build T13s until I have like 20 billion more power. I've never seen anyone bring that up.